back to my channel. So for this vlog I'm doing a few highlights of my trip to Massena in New York, which is the hometown where my dad is from. This was some airport Chinese food. Don't mind me struggling with the chopsticks. I was very tired. It actually wasn't too bad. We arrived in Syracuse at around midnight and we were all pretty tired. So after we arrived in the airport, we had a 3-hour drive to my grandma's house. She literally lives right on the edge of Canada and the United States. This is us arriving, and this is where I was staying for the duration of my stay. This was the first morning. We had some farm fresh eggs and homemade maple syrup, which is literally the best I've ever had in my life. So here my grandpa is doing some farming in the morning. They love to grow their own vegetables here, which tastes absolutely amazing. He was preparing to grow white pumpkin, potatoes, beans, and squash. And here he is taking me down to the edge of their property and showing me some bees that he has. Oh, there's a skunk back here somewhere? And he had quite a problem with skunks recently, so that's why he has a little live trap right there. And right there you can see that's one of the hives he has with all the bees swarming around it. And right here he's showing me some of the combs that he has, and he makes some homemade honey that again is literally the best I've ever had. Doesn't taste like anything you can get in the store. I'm telling you guys, if you ever try homemade farm raised honey, it tastes amazing. Luckily for me, this hive actually had a good amount of honey on it, so I was able to taste it straight from the honeycomb. Here's my brother taking some animal pelts out of my grandpa's freezer. Out here, they do hunt a lot, whether it's for fun or for eating, so they definitely do both. And he's eating some crazy things like muskrat and other things. But something that we always eat when we come down here is venison, aka deer, and it tastes really, really good. This is absolutely one of my favorite parts of being back here in Massena, is hunting for night crawlers. And here you can see me catching one out of the ground. They're actually really, really hard to catch. You have to be really slow and really quiet, because if they sense any vibration in the ground, they will go back into their hole extremely fast, and it's hard to get them out, and you can break them if you're not careful. So these are all the worms we caught by the end of the night. We caught several dozen of them, And we caught all these worms to use as bait when we went fishing in the next morning. In Massena, you're going to see plenty of barns and silos, farm animals, as there's lots of people who have their own farms out here, which is super adorable. So here's me and my family going fishing the next morning. And here's my brother reeling in a fish. I don't know what it is, but literally every time we go fishing, if no one catches anything, my brother will. I don't know what kind of special fish magic he has, but every single time we go fishing, he ends up catching something. And he ended up catching a pretty good sized northern pike. So these things have really sharp teeth on the inside. They're not that big, however, it's a really beautiful fish. And my brother actually ended up catching 2 of them. This one was the bigger size, and he caught one that was smaller shortly after this. And here's me putting the smaller of my brother's fish into the river. And the reason I'm rocking the fish back and forth a little bit is just to get some air back in its gills. This is the downtown portion. They have a lot of old buildings in this area, and there's a lot of small towns surrounding Massena. And there are plenty of large rivers as well, like the one we're crossing over right now, like the St. Lawrence River, and there's plenty of good fishing in there. Every time we come out to Massena, my whole family usually takes a camping trip, and I absolutely love camping. Especially out here, you have animals, lots of trees, lots of green, lots of water, and I honestly can't tell you guys how much I love camping. The drive to Craig Point was probably around 2 to 2.5 hours, so it took us quite a while to get there, but we had a very nice campsite and we were right on the water. This is where the children were told to sleep, aka me and my other adult cousins. And one of us left the window open and it rained pretty hard, so we actually ended up sleeping in my aunt's trailer because the whole tent was flooded. Anyway, this is my grandparents' trailer. It was actually very, very nice. As always, we had a campfire going and made s'mores, and these are definitely memories that I love.
Made a mess off
So on my last day in Massena, my grandma and I made a strawberry and rhubarb pie. This is one of her cookbooks from Betty Crocker, which is from the late 60s, and I absolutely loved looking through this book. I had a lot of the old style drawings and a lot of the old recipes, as well as table manners, place settings, and all types of things. I found it really interesting. And here my grandma is making the pie crust from scratch. I believe it was flour, Crisco, and warm water, maybe a pinch of salt. Don't quote me on this, but those are the main ingredients. And then I've never made a pie crust from scratch before, so she was actually showing me how it was done. And all you do is you just mix up the dry ingredients, add the water gradually, and then make tiny little dough balls so that way it's easier to work with. So here's the rhubarb and the strawberries. I know the rhubarb looks like celery. And they actually grow the rhubarb in their yard, and it's quite tart and it tastes really, really good in the pie. Here's the pie all finished, ready to go into the oven, and then that's the finished product. I hope you guys like seeing how my other half lives, and thank you so much for watching this video.